telling you a story and then you don't have the rest of it.
Yeah, well,
But I'm having my tea at the moment, so
part 2, and we're having a break here.
yeah.
And because a lot of things are said during the
Breaks.
casual times of a break, we've talked about Sophia, who was in Reading, and Beverli was saying you're not surprised about Reading.
No, I'm not surprised about Reading. Not at all.
And James Casbolt was there, and the thing about it is that Sophia, she gave about 5 separate things here about. The thing about Sophia was that she was born in the Southern African baby farm. She made it clear it was Southern Africa, not South Africa, the baby farms. And you made reference to you knew about that.
Yes, there's many. My handler had a baby farm in South Africa.
And she also talked about being with Draco Prime in the underground tunnels at Warminster.
Yeah, which actually are the sister farms and the bases to the dumb base of the deep underground military base that is in the Karoo, in the Klein Karoo and Groot Karoo. So the small Karoo and Great is I don't know what Great is. I think it's Great Karoo. Yeah, it's Great Karoo in South Africa. And I'd only been there once, but
Are they linked by direct hypertunnel straight to the earth?
They are. Yes, they're linked on the back end.
What do you mean by the back end?
Back end. So in other words, they don't go via the sea, because you also have the links through the sea channel underneath the seabed to areas, but then the back end is when you go closer to the Earth's core, which is easy enough for off-world technology to do. And they have this huge boring machine that they use, and they just push it straight through, almost like a knife through butter. So that goes to level 7. And you'd come through on level 7, and each of the level 7s, it's always triangular. There's a triangle between each of the continents, and it's always level 7. And you can get from anywhere, any of the bases that are linked, you can get to it within less than 7 minutes.
What's level 7? And what's level 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1?
Well, the top ones are, like the admin and general areas, common rooms, and then as you go down, you've got the bedrooms and rooms that people are staying in. And then as you go down, you would have, you have the hospital, and then 6 and 7 would be like the really, really huge areas. You'd have the ones that are 50, 60, 70 feet high, because you've got to make room for beings and entities that are extremely large, and they've got walls that are thicker than a baseball field.
I think Penny Bradley mentioned that some Draco would be the size of a football field.
Yeah, some of them are big. I have never heard of anyone that size going to a base, though, I must be honest. So the lower levels, the really lower levels, are where the residents are predominantly off-world. They're not on the higher levels at all. That's why I say
is there any reason why they have to be deep down?
I think it's both for protection, but I think it's also because of the level of space that's required, and I think the atmospherics go extremely well, and they can be controlled far better under the ground, deep under the ground, very easily. Whereas the closer to the surface you become, the greater the chances for discovery.
In other words, drilling for oil and things like that.
Yeah, and other general day-to-day things that you would do in Earth School.
So that means that the Earth's just one big solid lump, is it?
Pretty much.
Or is it like the black sun in the center, and it's sort of like a donut?
I haven't really looked at any of that. I do know that some areas are a lot warmer. I had one incident where I had been taken to a facility where there were these ant people that were living underneath the ground, because one of them actually appeared in my house. When was it? Not last year, I think last year or the year before, 2022 or 2023. And this being had appeared and said, we want to do a download. We are downloading to specific human beings all over the world, and all of you will have the same download at various times, because we're getting ready to leave the planet. And they asked, they didn't just take, they asked and said, would you like to come and see us, see our ways, and would you accept the download? And
Well, that's what you would call civilized.
well, they are civilized, yes.
And they're actually decent.
They are, yes. The ant people are. And they had been here on Earth literally since day one. And they're now no longer here.
Is that because we've got the wrong people here and this place is going to go bang?
No, I think that the Ant King unfortunately expired. And I think that, from what I understand, I haven't been able to access all of the downloads yet. But they knew that the Ant King was getting ready to pass, and he was moving into another dimension. And he'd said that his people should evacuate, and they would be evacuated to another planet. Remember, I said earlier that the individuals that were creating new planets and creating new places for races to live, this was one of the places that were being created. So they were given and rehoused and moved to another planet. So it only ever happened to me once only, and I've got 2 images of the beings that I saw and those that came to see me and appeared. And I've got, I haven't done pictures of it, but I've got 2 images that were created with an artist by me saying what I'd seen, and she had put together everything that I'd seen, so I can share those with you. And it was absolutely amazing, because what was very interesting for me was where they were, but also that they had human beings under the ground with them. And I had said, walking through this underground terrain with this very light, looked like a salt lamp, but it wasn't. Salt lamp along the walkways. And they had this very lovely, placid, calming light. And there were human beings that were underneath the ground with them. And I had said to the person who had collected me, why have you got these humans? Why are they here? Very pale, obviously, because they'd been underground for so long. And their eyes had become very, very light, because they had to become accustomed, I'm guessing. And they said, it was quite sad, they'd said that the exits up into the areas across the world, they exit out into massive parks, or, the wilderness, or the woods, forests. And these humans that are with them, that will transition with them, that will go and leave the planet with them, these were disposable humans. And I asked, what is a disposable human exactly? And the being said, these are your homeless. These are people that you've thrown away. These are people that have been living in the woods, that have been living rough, that have been starving, that have had health issues, that have been neglected. And we found them, and we've brought them with us, and we've taken them into as our people and as part of our family. And I must admit that made me feel quite ashamed, that as a race of human beings, that we have the ant beings that have found our discarded individuals, and they've taken them in and taken care of them. That's shameful. And some of them were veterans, which is even more shameful. So it was a very interesting time for me to meet these beings and see their civilization, see how they are. They burrow out, their dwellings are burrowed out into the soil, and they take their hands, well, it's not a hand, it's whatever, it looks like a hand, but not. And then they wet that down, and then they create these amazing dwellings under the ground, out of the mud from under the ground. And they grow food, and they have these different crystals which light their food. And they have a huge society that is absolutely peaceful. Everybody has their jobs, everybody does what they need to do, and there's no nonsense. And they've absorbed those of our society that we no wish to take care of anymore. They've absorbed them as well. So it was an amazing, amazing experience.
I had half a chocolate biscuit in the house.
Did you enjoy it? They're good, aren't they?
Yeah, that's really good. I think we've got. I think we'll take a break now. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There's two reasons for that.